Shawn Brady absolutely dominated Leon Edwards at UFC London, and afterwards, in a slew of post-fight interviews, he humiliated Leon Edwards and called him out for being arrogant and salty. But we don't only have that, because we're going to check out a bunch of different clips from a few different interviews that Shawn Brady did. We have Belal Muhammad going on Twitter and dumping Leon Edwards on his proverbial bald spot again, which we're going to react to. But not only that, we're going to talk about Leon Edwards pulling the ladder up behind him on Belal Muhammad, and Ariel Helwani coping about Shawn Brady's dominant win against Leon Edwards at UFC London. We have a lot to get to, so let's just jump right into it. So we're going to start off with Leon Edwards at the UFC 296 post-fight presser after he beats Colby Covington, who didn't even bother to show up to fight, pulling the ladder up behind him. And what I mean by that, and I've covered this before, is Leon was in the same situation as Belal before he was champion. And Leon was overlooked and disrespected and on a long win streak, and he complained and complained and complained. Eventually got his opportunity, won the title. Then he tries to big-time Belal Muhammad, who's in the same situation. And that's not even covering, the entire Leon Belal situation over the course of a couple years is a humiliation to Leon. But listen to what he had to say at the UFC 296 post-fight presser. Listen to what he had to say here. Listen to this.
I was able to do that.
Dana was here earlier. It kind of seemed like Belal Muhammad would be next, being that he's the backup and all that. But Dana said, I'm not ready to make that decision right now.
Yeah.
Do you see it as like he should be next? Does that feel like an unfinished chapter, or do you feel like maybe there's other options?
Nah, there definitely other options, I don't feel like Belal should be next. I've done it before. I've won like 10 fights in a row, didn't get a title shot. So what makes him different or more privileged, So Kobe's...
That clip right there is enough to infuriate me, because he acknowledges I was in the same situation as Belal. But no, I don't think Belal deserves it. And I think there's other options. This man was treated exactly like Belal before he became champion. He won the belt. He became super arrogant. He thought he was a big shot. He thought he was a huge draw. And now I can't wait until he washes out of the UFC and ends up in GFL. Because that's where he belongs, because he has no heart. He has no heart. He needs to fire his entire team as well. The motivational speeches aren't doing it anymore. Next clip I want to take a look at was him on the MMA Hour, back when Ariel did the MMA Hour, and just him kind of mocking Belal leading up to the UFC 304 fight. Listen to this, and I just find it so hilarious now. And then it's funny now seeing Belal's reaction on Twitter, Belal now being the champion, and then seeing Shawn Brady call Leon out for similar things. Listen to this.
So to become... For the trials and tribulation I went through in my career, and be able to headline UFC 300, it would have been like a moment for me, But like I said, it is what it is, and we got no one's remember his name in Manchester, so all good.
No one's gonna remember his name. And listen to Ariel's response here. I want to jump through the screen right here. Listen to this.
I see what you did there. I remember.
I see what you did there. Shut the fuck up. That was so annoying. I remember this clip, and I was like, I'm gonna include this because it really drove me nuts. The next thing I want to take a look at, I'm going through a lot because we have a lot to look at. We got Leon Edwards on Ariel Helwani's show in the lead up to UFC London. We have Belal Muhammad's Twitter. We have Ariel's cope in the post fight. We got Shawn Brady on Full Send interview where he drops a few interesting pieces of information about Leon. We have the Believe You Me podcast where Shawn Brady absolutely shits on Leon. We have the Ariel Helwani Shawn Brady interview. And also, we have this, just in case we need to pull this up, okay? Just in case we need to pull this up. So let's get into it, okay? I'm only going to play you a couple short clips from the Ariel Helwani interview in the lead up to UFC London. This is before he got dominated by Shawn Brady. And just listen. I'm actually going to just play you one long clip. Listen to him make excuses for why he lost, and listen to the way Ariel frames this question. If you want to see a full dedicated video on this, I'll link it down in the description. I did a video a couple days ago. That's why I don't want to include too much. But just this encapsulates the arrogance of Leon Edwards and how mentally weak he is, that after getting dominated by Belal, he had to make up a bunch of excuses for why he lost. And you had Ariel pushing these narratives. Listen to this.
I just ask about the aftermath. Yeah. There you are, champion, you're headlining the show, and it's a disaster situation, right? You're fighting in the middle of the night, and now you're no longer the champion against a guy that you were en route to beating a few years back before. Okay, look, listen to the way Ariel framed it. The guy you were on the route to beating a few years back. By the way, I didn't even get into the fact that
Belal stepped in on short notice to save Leon Edwards' main event years ago during the pandemic. Gets brutally eye-poked, and then Leon and media members like Ariel pushed the narrative that Leon was dominating him. He was dog-walking him. It was 1 round. It was 1 round. Anyway, let's continue and listen to Leon's excuses.
Or the eye poke. How did you deal with the aftermath? Yeah. What was life like after that fight in July?
I think right after I was upsetting, obviously. But this is a guy that I know I can beat, right? I think 10 out of 10 times.
He said 10 out of 10 times. You fought him twice. You ain't beat him yet. Does anyone in the comments favor Leon in a trilogy fight against Belal? I'm genuinely curious. Let me know right now. Comment down below. Who would you favor in a trilogy? But let's carry on. 10 out of 10 times he beats him. He starts to say 9 and then he says 10 out of 10. I mean, to be honest, I don't think Leon even knows what he's talking about. I don't think there's anything behind these eyes. I think he's dead behind the eyes, to be honest.
I beat this guy, I think you got the one time, and so it was more about my knowing that I could beat this guy, knowing that it was the circumstances leading up to the fight that played a massive part in the fight. So it's more of
a bunch of excuses. Oh, I had to wake up early, even though I knew I was fighting at that time for months. Luckily, and this is my favorite part of the video, we got Belal Muhammad tweeting on Saturday night during UFC London. Here we go. By the way, Belal predicted Shawn Brady to beat him. Then as Leon, this is live tweeting, as Leon's getting dominated by Shawn Brady, everyone has an off night when Bully's in front of them. What time is it in London? Asking for Leon. Because if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Leon only lost to Belal because he had a fight at 5 a.m. London time. Even though he knew he was fighting at that time for literal months and said that he was hiring a sleep specialist and he wasn't worried about it at all. He looked tired. He looked awfully tired against Brady as well. He looked awfully defeated against Shawn Brady as well. He looked like a deer in the headlights. But let's carry on. Don't let him bully you, son. Don't let him drop you on your bald spot, son. You got to pull this out of the fire, Leon. Leon, I wish Belal would have said, man, Leon should have spray painted that bald spot going in, man. He really should have. I think he would have starched out Brady. He would have spray painted that bald spot. Anyway, let's continue. Leon's still on 5 a.m. time zone. Belal deserved this victory lap. He really did. This is nothing but facts. Let's see. Just how good is Belal Muhammad? Leon's going to need a big motivational speech this round. Yeah, where's David Lavelle, who was also making a bunch of excuses immediately following Belal dominating him, but also in the lead up to UFC London, he was making a bunch of excuses for why he lost to Belal. So the entire team's delusional. Leon needs to just part ways with the entire team. What else we have? Shawn Brady copied my homework, which is pretty much true, but Shawn Brady was going to fight him like that anyway. Anybody with any decent wrestling beats Leon. A fluke head kick over Kamaru Usman doesn't change that. And then lastly, headshot dead, which it should have been bald spot dead. He should have tweeted out bald spot dead. And just how good is Belal Muhammad? And what's funny is, had Belal not had a win over Shawn Brady, people would have been using this Shawn Brady win to delegitimize Belal. But it's just hilarious because they have nowhere to go. They have no crack to crawl in because Belal stopped Shawn Brady as well, who now everyone's hyping up. Now, if you thought reading those tweets was somewhat funny, and Belal taking a victory lap and rubbing salt in the wound of Leon Edwards, Mr. Injury Boy, Mr. 5 a.m., Mr. Bald Spot Dead, if you thought that was funny, the best part was watching Ariel Helwani read them live and die inside. Okay, let's listen to Ariel cope about Leon getting dominated by Shawn Brady and admit he would have pushed a narrative about the Leon Belal fight had Leon beat Brady. Listen to this.
Well, Belal Muhammad, the aforementioned Belal Muhammad, having himself a night. He is absolutely loving this on Twitter.
By the way, I'm telling you right now, you can just see Ariel's dying inside reading this. But let's continue. He reads Bilal's tweets.
Everyone has an off night when the bully's in front of them. What time is it in London? Asking for Leon. Don't let him bully you, son. Leon's still on 5 a.m. time zone. Just how good is Belal Muhammad? Leon's going to need a big motivational speech this round. He's going on and on as the fight is going on. Shawn copied my homework. Headshot dead. Retweets his just how good is Belal Muhammad tweet. Retweets someone who says, and Belal finished that dude. Bully's always right. He just tweeted, and I'm sure many more to come. The thing about this fight,
Now listen to this. I don't know. I think it's a combination of both, But I don't know if it's just sheer bias or Ariel has the worst fight analysis I've ever heard in my entire life. Because every time I hear him try to contrive any like post-fight analysis, post-fight narratives, he makes up the dumbest shit I have ever heard. He's one of the best interviewers. He's literally the best interviewer. But the analysis is horrible. And listen to what he admits here, okay? It may not be very clear, but he admits to a certain narrative he would have pushed had Leon Edwards beat Shawn Brady, which is the narrative he was already pushing and nobody else was other than Leon Edwards. Listen to this.
Fight could have been the sort of referendum on that performance. And what I mean by that is if Leon would have come out and just absolutely smoked Shawn Brady, he could have come back and said, you see what I told you guys? It was the night, I was off, this and that. Now the verdict becomes, no, that was just, you weren't the better man that night. You just got beat. Because there was a case to be made, but then the naysayers would say, well, what about Aspinall? Well, what about Patty? You got to put Manchester to bed now. No one can.
You're the only one, and Leon was the only one bringing that up. Nobody bought them bullshit excuses. But what Ariel's admitting here is had Leon won, he could have won by the skin of his teeth against Shawn Brady. He could have won by a 5th round Hail Mary fluke head kick KO after getting dominated. And Ariel would have ran with the narrative. The Belal win was a fluke. That's what Ariel was chomping at the bit to do. He had already had that pre-planned in his head. There's a little bit more to this.
Could bring it up. No one can bring it up anymore. Right. This was an awful performance. You had to bounce back and show that you are still that guy, and he did not do that. In fact, what we found out was that Shawn Brady is that guy. And now we'll go back to Shawn saying, look, that performance in Abu Dhabi, that wasn't me.
So now Ariel, because he has to hate on Belal, man, that wasn't the same Shawn Brady back in Abu Dhabi. Of course it wasn't. It was years ago. Now my dog has just randomly shown up and wants to be on camera, I guess. Hold on. My dog wants to be on camera. Here he is. My dog is interrupting the video to harass me. All right, buddy. Go get your mother. Go get your mother. I got to get back to the video. Come on, buddy. All right, go. Go lay down. All right. Back to the video. We'll just leave that in. All right. Back to the video. All right. Next thing I want to check out from this post-fight. I mean, it's Ariel trying to give Belal compliments, and it's really just backhanded. By the way, I mean, look at he should have spray painted it going in, man. Back shot's dead. Listen to this.
I know there's this fun narrative that, I don't give Belal his flowers. Belal was the guy who was getting screwed. He deserved to be a title contender way before they gave him the title shot.
That's true, but you still didn't give him any respect for beating Leon Edwards. You pushed the excuses of Leon Edwards, and you acted like they were legitimate because you didn't look at Belal as a legitimate champion because you're a Leon Edwards and UK boy dick rider and other reasons.
And he won that fight fair and square as far as July is concerned. Now, I did have questions regarding, the time difference and all that stuff. I own up to that. But
think about that. That's him giving Belal his flowers. He won that fight in July as far as I'm concerned and fair and square. And I had some questions. Though. I'm just asking questions here. That's him giving Belal his credit. Talk about backhanded.
But now, like I said, that performance from Leon ages worse, and for Belal, it ages way better. And now we move on because I don't think Leon's getting another crack. Obviously, he's not getting another crack at the belt anytime soon.
Leon will never fight for the belt ever again in his entire career. That belt is gone. Belal took that off him. And you could just see Ariel so upset because he loves Leon. Leon comes on his show. Leon's from the UK. But thank God, not only do we get Ariel coping, we have Shawn Brady calling out Leon, not only in this Full Send interview, but also on Ariel's show, which we're going to get to in a second. Listen to this.
Leon was super salty afterwards, so I kind of understand what Belal's been talking about. So, yeah, I think Leon was too focused on Belal all week and not me, and it was the worst thing that ever happened to him.
Leon was super salty and too focused on Belal. I didn't even bring up the clip. The pre-fight press conference for Leon, he was talking about how he was close to finishing Belal in the 5th round. If you think Leon was close to finishing Belal in the 5th round, you are mentally insane. You need to see a psychiatrist. You need to be evaluated. You might need to be committed. So Leon saying that just goes to show how delusional he is and how mentally weak he is. Because going into this fight, instead of trying to make adjustments after the Belal performance, he just chalked it up to a bunch of excuses, didn't improve. Imagine if Leon put the same amount of effort into improving his wrestling game as he did in making excuses for the Belal loss. Imagine what he maybe could have done against Shawn Brady. And there's a little bit more to this interview. We're gonna jump ahead a little bit more. And he's asked specifically, what do you mean by salty? What do you mean?
Even easier.
And what did you mean by he was salty afterward? Like, did he not shake your hand?
Yeah,
or?
like I was just saying, like, yo, you're the man, like whatever. And he was just obviously he's upset, but like I try to be cool. Like even during the week, we did a face-off. He was super weird, wouldn't look at me. This is business. Like I don't hate anybody who does this, but yeah, clearly other people feel the same way about him. I've heard some other stuff, so yeah, he was just super salty.
So Leon and his team basically blew Shawn Brady off after the fight. Like Shawn tried to go shake his hand, kind of like Alex Pereira didn't go and shake Magomed Ankalaev's hand or his team's hand. They had to go over and engage in it. So Shawn Brady just whooped him, and now even Shawn Brady's calling him out and saying, look, man, dude's super salty, dude's super arrogant. Okay, and it's not just this interview, because he went into more details on the Believe You Me podcast. I'll link all this down in the description if you care to go check it out. Listen to this. He goes off about Leon and his team here.
He was saying, so he said, he was talking about my size. He was like, Sean's so small. I didn't even know where he was at when I was walking up to the O2. It's like, you've realized how big I was when I was on top of you for 4 rounds, though, didn't you? So he was just saying sly shit all week, and I knew.
By the way, Bisping is so biased for UK talent. It's so funny seeing his reaction there.
I'm like, I can't wait to wrap my hands around this, because people see me. I'm 5'9". I'm not a giant, but I'm not like 5'6". But I'm like, wait until you feel when I grab you, and you
wait till you feel me on top of you. This is exactly what Chandler was hoping to hear from Conor McGregor. Okay,
you can't get away from me, and then I can just see you breaking underneath of me, and that was the entire fight. I was looking at him in the corner. My coaches are screaming, "Look at that! He's breaking in his corner." You got his bullshit ass coaches trying to tell him some fairy tales to get him back into the fight. Like, lightning ain't gonna strike twice in the bottle, buddy. So yeah, I get a little upset about it, but he pissed me off. So it couldn't went. I wish I would have hit him even harder, to be honest, but it went pretty good for me.
Dude, Leon is mentally weak. He is arrogant. He is salty, and his coaches are telling him fairy tales because he's not improved for years. People looked at a fluke head kick KO win over Kamaru Usman and a dominant win over washed up, was never really that good Colby Covington, and they thought Leon was so elite and so unbeatable. And it's just hilarious to see Shawn Brady call it out. Man, his corner's over there trying to convince him to fight. His corner's over there trying to get the deer in the headlight look out of his eyes. And also, I think Shawn Brady messed up there. He was like, you're not going to catch lightning in a bottle twice. I think it's lightning's not going to strike twice or catch lightning in a bottle. I'm pretty sure. That's what he was trying to say. But either way, calls out Leon for being mentally broken. And I think there's a little bit more to this, which I'm going to get to in a second. But we'll save that for the end after we watch this Ariel Helwani interview. This is Shawn Brady going off about Leon Edwards. Listen, and I know Ariel's just sitting there. First off, he's smirking because he does like the drama, but you know he's upset for Leon. So, Leon might never come on my show again since I let Brady badmouth him and I didn't make excuses for him. Listen to this.
To be fair, he was kind of I don't know what's his deal, but we did the first. I'm super respectful. My wife thinks she hates it. Like, I'm hugging dudes at the weigh-ins, dapping them up. Like, it is what it is to me. I can be your friend and go and try to kill you, but we did a face-off at the O2, and it literally took 5 seconds. But like when we did it, we walked up to each other, and obviously, bro, I'm not 6 foot. I'm not 6'2". I'm 5'9". Like, I've never been tall. But he walked up to me, and he said something. He was asking me about my height, and I was like, he was like, "How tall are you? 5'8", 5'9"?" Like, he was being a dickhead. And I was like, I'm 5'9". And I was like, what are you 6'2"? I was like, you got those big shoes on, like, just making a joke of it. And then
I gotta be honest with you guys. I love Brady trashing Leon, and he goes on to trash Leon a little bit more here. And I absolutely love it. I enjoy it. I want Brady to trash Leon. But I have to be honest, after watching this Ariel Helwani clip that I'm going to show you the entirety of here in a second, I think Brady's a little sensitive about his height. The way he kind of phrased that, and also in the Believe You Me podcast interview, it seemed like Leon struck a chord saying something about his height, and that's what kind of encouraged him, on top of Leon acting salty after the fight, to really go after him after the fact. Because typically you don't see this. You don't see fighters like really just absolutely hammer their opponent after the fight. You usually see that before. But we'll continue.
We faced off for legit 5 seconds, walked off. I don't know if it's his manager, his brother, like, and him were like, oh, this is super awkward. Like, they said some stupid ass shit. And me and my team looked at him like, yo, you're in London. Like, this is your fight week. Like, you're bitching about having to do some little ass media. Like,
doesn't that describe Leon perfectly? He's not a star. He doesn't put any effort in when it comes to any media. He doesn't put any effort in when it comes to training defensive wrestling, at least not over the last 2 years. I guess he thought he had it all dialed in when he beat Kamaru Usman. But now he's inconvenienced to do a little bit of media in the UK for the UFC to promote this fight, which was a top welterweight matchup. I mean, that's crazy. And acting like, again, Leon, if you listen to some of the interviews he did this week, it was like he was big time in Shawn Brady too. Like, oh, it's just Shawn Brady. Like, he's a nobody. And Leon, I'm telling you, he let that title go to his head. And that's really what I want to hammer across in this video is he won that title. He thought he was a big shot. He thought he was the best fighter in the world. And he stopped improving. He stopped improving.
It just from that point, from there on, I'm like, yo, I'm not touching this dude's hand. If he tries some stupid, because I seen him try stupid shit at the weigh-ins, I was like, I'm going to give it right back to this motherfucker. And that's why at the weigh-ins, I didn't go, like, I always shake everyone's hand. I didn't touch his hand. I didn't have social media, so I didn't see his interviews, but I seen him, like, saying he walked up at the O2. He didn't know where I was at because I was so short. So I posted a picture of me on top of him, mauling him, like, just laughing. Like, I'm respectful. Like, GSP's my favorite fighter. Always respected guys. But when you're an asshole like that, like, I can give it right back. So, personally, fuck Leon, fuck him and his whole team, and that's how I feel about the whole situation.
That's my favorite clip from this whole thing. And I love this version of Shawn Brady, by the way. I absolutely love this version of Shawn Brady. I wish he showed it more because it's absolutely hilarious. I need somebody in a Shawn Brady lead up to just talk about his height the entire time, to bring out this version of Shawn Brady that's just going to go after his opponent and trash his opponent, because you can tell he really feels this way. This isn't some weird, contrived, made-up WWE character. You can tell he truly feels this way. He's a bit salty, but let's listen to this again.
When you're an asshole like that, I can give it right back. So, personally, fuck Leon, fuck him and his whole team, and that's how I feel about the whole situation.
Did he say anything to you after the fight?
That made it even worse because I went up to him. I'm like, yo, man, like I'm like, you're a great champion, blah, blah, blah. He just like kind of like brushed me off. Like, obviously he's upset, but even his whole team, like, I try to like say what's up, and they were corny as shit too. So it was just whack. My coaches didn't even go over. They're like, fuck that. Like, we're not saying shit to these dudes. And then even
if you've been watching my channel for the last 2 years, you know I can look at situations objectively, okay? But you also know I absolutely love the Leon Edwards and Leon Edwards' team slander from Shawn Brady here because they deserve it. They deserve it. A little bit more.
Before they raised my hand, I tried to like touch him behind Jason Herzog, and he's just salty. And then seeing all the shit he was saying about me throughout the week, I'm like, all right, I wish I was even fucking meaner to this dude. And that's why like I posted this shit about the headshot dead and them not having guns in London, because now I'm going to make fun of you and I'm going to poke at you because you're a fucking asshole. So maybe Belal was right about him. He's all butthurt about all kinds of shit. So I don't know.
Man.
I don't even know what to say. Shawn Brady said it all there, man. I tried to touch him from behind. He wasn't having it. Whoa. All right, Conor McGregor. Yeah, fuck Leon and his whole team and the motivational speeches. Leon let the belt go to his head. I promise you he's mentally weak. I've been saying it for a while. I even predicted in the lead up to the Belal Leon Edwards fight at UFC 304. I said he will be getting dominated and there will be motivational speeches. Those motivational speeches aren't cutting it. Maybe David Lavelle needs to save those motivational speeches for the wrestling room, okay? Maybe that's what he needs to do. But Leon doesn't have any heart, and then he can't even accept a loss like a man. I wonder what kind of excuses he's going to come up for why he lost to Brady. Oh, that fire alarm at the press conference. Or, the timing wasn't right. I got too used to fighting at 5 a.m. Is he going to come up with a bunch of excuses? Or is he going to accept the fight like a man, accept the outcome like a man, and actually try to improve? And you know what's crazy? Leon's like, 33? He's in his prime right now. Does anyone ever see him getting back to a title? I personally don't. So Shawn Brady hitting the nail on the head about Leon and his team. And I love that he said Belal was right the whole time. Because when Belal used to say things about Leon and his team, people were like, man, Belal talks too much. Belal's cringe. Belal was speaking nothing but facts. But I'm genuinely curious of your opinion. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to turn on notifications and like the video. And thank you so much for watching.